Shantaakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham Meghabharnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Vidhyanagamyam Bande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaika Natham. In different chapters in the Bhagavata, which is slowly leading a human mind to liberation, we are not going through that. There is a big chapter describing about the different activities of Dhruva. Dhruva the king. When a majority of the people, they know the story of the Dhruva, the great devotee. But Dhruva was a king too. And he had to fight and he had to maintain a big, the emperor he was. And after the Dhruva, his son Utkala, he succeeded. The Utkala was completely dedicated to that Brahma-jnana. So he never liked that kingdom, kingship and all that. Most of his time he spent in quiet meditation. He used to roam without talking with anyone, without looking at anything. The people started thinking naturally that he is a mad person. Being a king, he's not riding the horses, he's not showing the kingship, no proper dress, not sitting on the throne. He is not a king. Even the ministers and the advisors of the king, they started thinking in that way. They couldn't understand actually what he was thinking and why he was doing in that way. And this is the speciality we can say in the human society. If you are not attached with the worldly things, the most of the people, whatever they are doing, if you are not doing that, people will immediately label you as a mad. He was labeled as mad and unfit for the kingship. The two things are there, this world with this manifestation and another is the spiritual world, only one conception of one and nothing else. If you are not withdrawing your mind from this multifarious thing which is just all inert and subject to changes, obviously we can never go to that supreme goal which is one and consciousness all pervading. This Utkala, he withdrew his mind. Now the problem was he was a king. Dhruva was a great devotee. But the Dhruva maintained both. He was a king at the same time the devotee. How it was possible? Because the Dhruva used to think that all that I see is the manifestation of my God. So I have to serve them. His son Utkala, he was following the path of jnana. Negation, not this, not this. This is the two differences. In the Bhagavata we find the blending of these two paths, jnana and bhakti. In every chapter it speaks about this. Trying to stress on the bhakti, the devotion. Why? Because for the ordinary people it is easy. But the people like Utkala, who was having everything, the kingdom and the power, each and the people who they want all this, he was having all this, but he left it. And he was living in that as if he is not. And he never mind when people were criticizing the ordinary, his subjects. When he was roaming in the market, in the places, the people used to criticize him. He could listen, but he never reacted. His mind was completely withdrawn. How it was withdrawn? As if he's in a dream world. In the present world, that as a king he is roaming, he used to think that this is the dream world. My real world is somewhere else. So that was in the dream, when you see so many things, in the dream we react, but afterwards, we just laugh at it. He was thinking in that way. So what to do? The ministers then selected his brother Vatsara as the king. In this lineage, there's a long list. It came, and this is our Puranas. They will go on giving the dates and the names of the kings. Who was the king, what he did, all the history. So the Purana is clubbed with the history. At the same time, this Purana, as we are reading the Bhagavata, almost in every pages they will be talking about, teaching about high spiritual values, moralities, the way of life, all these things. And then they will give the stories also. So these are the three things combined together comes in the Puranas. This Bhagavata Purana is a very famous Purana. Purana means ancient. So they are giving that all the description. And in that lineage came one king who is Anga. He was a very wonderful king. And his wife Sunita. These two, they were having one son, Bhena. The name Bhena means tyrant. His actual name was something else. But because of his the behavior, the people used to call him Bhena. Bhena means the tyrant. That was a very unfortunate in the lineage of the Dhruva. And they were all devotees. They were all trying to practice the spiritual life. But how come suddenly the Bhena came? This unfortunately in this lineage of the great Dhruva, a very cruel personality like Bhena was born. After the king Anga, Bhena inherited the throne. Nobody told him. He himself went and said, no, this is my father's property. And people were very much afraid. Right from the ordinary subject, highly respected and educated people, all were being tortured by him. Then ultimately, a group of rishis, and headed by the great rishi Bhrigu, they went to Bhena. And that was the duties of the rishis, to go and tell the kings, you are not doing the correct thing, you should do in this way. Rishis knew that someone should be there on the throne and he must be a powerful person to maintain the administration. But if that person become cruel and torturing his own subject, then where the subjects will go? There was no Supreme Court. So Supreme Court was only the rishis. So the rishis went, headed by the Bhrigu. And they told him, this long conversation, see, you belong in the lineage of the Dhruva. So naturally you should behave in this way, this way, this way, this way. When they completed, they were thinking that they have changed his mind. The Bhena told, you know what you are doing? Adharma. Why? Because you have come to teach the king. King is nothing but the God on earth. So you cannot say anything to king. The moment you are criticizing the king, you are subject to punishment. And he wanted to punish the rishis. Then the rishis applied. Otherwise there was no other option. He wanted to punish the rishis. Punishment means killing. So the rishis applied their yogic power, and he was killed by the thunder. And he died. Rishis went and they bathed in the river and they sat for meditation. They were thinking that problem is solved. Vena's mother came, Sunita, and she told, now you tell who is going to be the king. Vena is not having any children, and his brother is not at all ready to become the king. So what will happen? Then the rishis understood, oh yes, what to do? A king is necessary. So I am trying to give you the social status of India in those days. The rishis, they were the great scholars and spiritual people, not at all attached with the worldly things. But they were very much careful to maintain the worldly status too. They knew all people cannot leave the hearth and home and meditate in the jungle like them. So obviously, the normal, as we see in the world, that system is necessary, and for that, an administration is a must. So that way, they once again came, and here again, whether you believe it or not, the story part comes. The history and the sociology, all the things were there, but suddenly, as a mystery comes, they came and they squeezed the leg of that dead king Vena. And from that, there came out a very crooked looking, short and cruel type of person, and they told, you should not be mixing in the human society. You should go in the jungle and live with the animals. That was the bad karma phalas of the Vena. So that took a human form, a dwarf, and he went inside the jungle. Then they squeezed the right hand of the king, and from there came two, one male, another female. And the male became Prithu, and the female, I will just come to that name, that Prithu was a great king. And Prithu was the part of, not the complete, the part of Mahavishnu. This is the part of this Purana. Sometimes people, they doubt. So whether is it possible? Because the completely miraculous way they are giving the birth of the children. But I think, there's a strong way of creating things in the universe. How? By controlling the nature. The rishis were having that tremendous power. So they controlled the nature out of the good qualities of the Prithu, the Vena. They brought out the one son and a daughter, and all the bad qualities that became the dwarf. So that way the Vena was liberated ultimately, because the rishis took out all the bad qualities from him. Now we will think about this Prithu. The Vena, that he was dead, and the Prithu became, and the female's name was Archie. Archie was the female, and she was the incarnation of Mahalakshmi. The king Prithu was the upholder of dharma, a Lokopala. Lokopala means the custodian deities protecting the world. That's called Lokopala. So when there is a great waves, then these people, particularly the fishermen, they go and pray to one God to please make the ocean normal so that we can go for fishing, and this is our livelihood. So they are all Lokopalas. They don't go to Rama or Krishna or Vishnu or Ganesha. They worship one type of God who are controlling this nature. They are known as Lokopala. Friends, I will be announcing officially afterwards, but we are working to start an online school to understand Hinduism. In the beginning, in the Hinduism, and slowly, if God's will, we will add other 5 or 6 other religions. So in the Hinduism, I was wondering how it is possible to explain people in this way, so many varieties. This Lokapala, one type of God who are controlling a portion of the nature. How they came? Because those who are practicing spirituality but not getting the realization, final realization, they get this type of power. So they become the Lokapalas. Sometimes some of you may be Lokapala, but we won't know. You're all practicing spirituality, naturally you will get it. As long as we are not getting the complete liberation, this thing will go on happening. He was the Lokapala. And this great king came to know from the rishis that of the 4 holy Kumaras, there's another bunch of holy people. They were and the first children that the Brahma mentally created. They are 4, and they were just like the sons, but behavior was just like children. So this Sanak, Sananda, Sanatan and Sanat Kumar, they visited him. So from here we get a wonderful idea. The king's court is all the time having some wonderful guest, and they are all highly spiritual people. They used to come and talk with the king and give the answer to his question and looking after the welfare of the people. So we can say they were not selfish people, only going inside the cave or sitting under a tree and meditating and sometime coming to the villages to collect their food. No. They came to the locality, and through that knowledge they gave the wonderful idea of spirituality. These Sanat Kumars, the 4 brothers, they were created by the Brahma with an intention so that they will go and take up the work about the population and the maintenance of the worldly things. They said, no, it is not possible. Because they were 100% pure. Immediately after the birth, they went for liberation. They were already liberated, but Sri Ramakrishna is telling this is also possible. This type of people, they come not for their own liberation. They are already liberated, but they come and live the life of a human and mix with the human so that they can inspire others. Then he is telling it is like the pumpkin, the fruit first and then the flower. Mostly the flower will be the first and then the fruit. But in these cases, they are already realized. Then they will go on practicing spirituality only to inspire other people. This Sanat Kumar came. In the 4th Skanda and 22nd Adhyaya chapter, we find the graphic description of the group of the 4 famous Kumaras appearing in the court of the Prithu. And people used to call them Kumaras. Why? They were just like babies, children. They were grown-up people. Very, very respected people, highly knowledgeable people. The realized souls, constantly living in that Brahman. But their behavior was like children. That's why they used to call them Kumaras. Swagatam Bo Dijasreshtha. Now the Prithu is welcoming them in his court. Swagatam Bo Dijasreshtha. Yat Bratani Mumukshuvaha Charanti Sraddhaya Dhira Bala Eva Brihanti Vai. This is the 12th sloka. O great Brahmanas. Why they called Brahmana? Now there is a great controversy going on in India, something or other. It always goes on whether Hanumanji is a Brahmana or not. So a lot of people, they're spending a lot of time on the Hanumanji. Hanumanji must be very angry now. So what nonsense they are talking about. And what are the Brahmana actually? Brahmana means those who are constantly living in Brahman. What is that Brahman? Consciousness. So they cannot see anything else but the consciousness, the oneness, all pervading. They are Brahmana. So here it says, oh great Brahmana. In that sense, Hanumanji is a Brahmana, of course, because he was that great height level. He was the person who immediately recognized the Ramachandra who was in the form of a human being. Others could not. Hanumanji could understand immediately. So this Brahmana living on the high spiritual plane, and Prithu is telling, welcome to you. You are completely egoless like the children. If you have read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, life of Sri Ramakrishna, again and again he is mentioning, the holy people just become like the children. They don't understand the other things. Then the children will come and they will touch this, touch that. So in this way, but the children are ignorant. These people are very highly knowledgeable. But the behavior is just like that. Why children? No attachment. If you give a doll to a child, immediately you will hold it, he will be so happy and they will be jumping, expressing his joy. At second moment, he will throw that and go away. So that is the children, no attachment. So you are just like the children. You care only for divine life and live austere lives. So this is how he is telling. The scripture teaches that the holy people should be served with proper spiritual questions. Pariprasnena sevaya. In the Sanskrit they always say that when the holy person is coming, you must give him the respect. And then in our country, as because they used to walk barefoot, and so they used to wash the feet and give him the cool water and all this. Afterwards, when he settled, then they used to ask questions. All people will sit in his front and they will be asking questions. Why? Sevaya. To serve a holy person, the best way is asking spiritual questions. So that is the way. And sometimes when you go to visit somebody's house, other people have come, they will, oh please come, and then they will forget about you. They will be socializing outside and you are sitting all alone, then suddenly one person will come. And what do you think about the Mamata Banerjee over there? Why? We are all in Chicago. We have nothing to do with Mamata. Why you are asking this question? Any other question? The temples are coming. This is not good. There should that type of discussions. Very rarely people will ask, Swami, can you please tell me how to develop devotion for God? Very rarely people will say, Swami, can you please tell me what is this Brahma Jnana? No. Because that never occurs in there. So pariprasnena sevaya, this is the great thing. And who can ask question? Who is having the basic knowledge? Otherwise, how can you ask question? So here he is telling the Prithu, the king, he was a Brahmagyani himself, Prithu, the king. But with great humbleness, he is asking this question, O honored ones, can there be any happiness for the householders who by mistake accepted the sense objects as supreme goal due to the past karma? So many people, they accept this particular thing as their life's goal. How it is possible? So this is the way. Then yesterday I went to check a house. We are planning to purchase a property inside that Chicago, so that we can have a congregation there itself, and library, and they can contact, etc. So the palatial house, those who built and lived, they are fabulously rich people. And I was wondering, in one of their the washroom, we can nicely live. It's such a big washroom, and not only 1 to 2 person can nicely live. Such a big washroom, huge, and then one big room. What is this? When someone becomes sick, they come and live over here. There is so many rooms and so beautiful and so decoration. And that way, and the things, my God, one person may be having 100 shoes. There's a big rack, you should go and check. And all this. Why? Rich person. So naturally they need it. They think that we should live in that way. Think about the first one who was constructing that building. It was at the, I think 1900. So when Swami Vivekananda was visiting these people, they were constructing this. So the big house. And similar others are also there. So all those people. Now why they are selling it? No one in the family. Only one daughter and there's nothing. So they are living for a small place or some other place. Where? Because they cannot maintain this. It's not necessary also. So this way, so many, not only hours, the life's time, but effort, the energy, everything we spend for something. What is that? Sense objects. And then afterwards what? Nothing remains with us. So this is the only thing we must understand. And here it says, O honored ones, can there be any happiness for householders? Who? Not all householders. Who by mistake accepted the sense objects as supreme goal. Then he is commenting, maybe due to the past karma. So in the past they always felt like that, I should be like this, I should be like that. So this is this. Then he said, Sampriche bhava etasmin sheva kena gaya bhavet. How a person can work out his welfare quickly in this cycle of birth and death. Now from here, this is the wonderful question. And of the four Kumaras, Sanat Kumar, he started giving the reply. Then Sanat Kumar, he said, O you great king, you verily know the answer, but still asking for the good of all, I appreciate it. So they immediately understood that king himself knows it, not that he is not knowing. But he is so humble asking this question so that others can understand. Why? See, there is no description that there is a good number of people, they are waiting for the answer, nothing is there. But just one word, for the betterment of others, immediately we can imagine it's a court, king's court. There are many people were there and all they came to see that four Kumaras. So when they are giving the answer, naturally it will be beneficial to all of them. So then the great sage started giving the teaching. And it is all actual teaching of the Hinduism. Any scripture you open, the same teaching. Why? Because this is the only way you can realize God. There is no other method. Sometimes they are using some languages, different languages to express it, but the same teaching. What is the teaching? First and foremost, detachment. Detachment from the material things and delight in Brahman. And when you are giving up something, you have to accept something. You cannot give up something and then remain totally vacant. No, you cannot. So that is called, you have to give up the world and you will get God. Where the mind will go. Accept the world. The world means so many varieties of things are there. From there you are withdrawing the mind. Where you will put the mind? Towards the spirituality, towards God, towards the consciousness. So he said, these two things together you should do, detaching the worldly objects and delight in the Brahman. And the 21st verse of that chapter. Then he said, form faith in the existence of God. Practice dharma, philosophical discrimination, practice of concentration. Friends, this is one after another he is telling, the point by point. If anyone practicing this, it doesn't matter whether a Hindu or a Sikh or a Christian or Muslim. Anyone wants to realize God, anyone wants to go for the higher spiritual life, these are the practices one should do. What? Detachment from the worldly things. Does it mean that we should not live in the houses, we should not purchase anything? Why not? We must, but not that attachment to that. Sometimes we think we won't be able to live, survive without this. And suppose this computer, this is very recently computer has come. Before that, how people lived? Without computer they lived. That was all right. Now we cannot think of, when I am delivering the lecture and asking you to detach from I am having the phone in my pocket. Why? The modern way of life, you cannot give up. And sometimes when the phone I kept somewhere, I feel wonder how to contact this person or that person. Previously we used to note down somewhere. Now everything is in the phone. And if that phone is not there, then you are feeling helpless. What do I do? So this is the way of life. But the attachment to that thing, if that is not there, I am going to die. That should not be there. That should not be. Sometimes some young people, we read in the newspapers, only for a smartphone, they are killing others. Because they are not getting the money. But so much of attachment for that phone, he wanted to rob the person, he was protesting, he killed him, and ultimately he was arrested. Now he's spending the time in the jail, behind the bars. And where the phone, nothing. So that attachment always takes us to difficulties, the miseries. So we should be very, very careful. At the same time, we must know that these are the things are necessary. A doctor, a writer, a professor, and many, many, many others, they need these things. So they should have. But at the same time, no attachment to that. If that is lost, I am going to die. Not like that. So this is and how it is possible? First he said, the delight in Brahman. And second he said, firm faith in God. See, two things side by side. One is jnana, another is bhakti, devotion. The knowledge is delight in Brahman. He never said devotion in Brahman, to Brahman. He said delight. What is the delight? Consciousness, all pervading. So I am also that. So that is the delight, that is the joy, the feeling of consciousness. And for the devotion, faith in the existence of God. There I am having the 100% faith. I have lost that thing. Maybe that is what the God they always want. So that is the way. And the Muslims, they always say, Inshallah. In anything, you will hear them, Inshallah, if God wills. Hey, I will meet you in the next week, Inshallah. If God wills. I do not know. I have a plan to meet you. But if the God is not permitting, so I don't know what is going to happen. So they always depend on that and complete faith, which Swami Vivekananda appreciate very much. Look at that faith. Swamiji asked an elderly lady in Kashmir, Mother, what is your religion? Oh, God be praised, I am a Muslim. The tremendous faith, that particular attitude of mind, Vivekananda appreciated. So that is and then it says, practice of dharma. What is dharma? Your responsibility. Whatever the life, the position that you are in the society, you must practice that. And perfectly, properly. That is called dharma. As a mother, as a father, as a brother, as a sister. And that is the life we see in the life of Sri Ramachandra. The Ramachandra, also the same thing reflected in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. So if you read the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, Ramachandra, you will find whatever, as a son, they were always obedient to the parents, very, very respectful. He knew that father is making a mistake. His brothers, they were rebellious, but the Ramachandra said, don't bother about that. Our father is very good. Only one mistake he has done, that is natural, normal. So that is, as a son, not finding fault with the father, rather constantly, all the time with the father, with the wife, with the children, with the subjects, as a king, everywhere, or whatever the dharma, he accepted the responsibility, he performed it perfectly. That is called dharma, swadharma. In one place, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, those who were dirty type of people and they used to show the poverty, I never visited them, I never liked them. I used to visit those people who were neat and clean and the houses are good. So one person, he has written to me, why Sri Ramakrishna said like that? As a monk, as a sannyasi, avatar, why he couldn't understand what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. You are a householder, you must be living properly. Maybe you are not very rich, but whatever you are having should be nicely kept, properly washed, and all things should be that proper. And when you go to, and if you go to the Uttarakhand, they lives in the caves. Even if you go and see, all their things are properly kept. One or two things are there. Still they maintain. So that cleanliness next to godliness, as they say in English. So that properly you have to maintain. Very good. When I am serving some food, I love my hand. There is no problem for me. But the others don't. So when I am using my hand, sometimes I am putting my finger in the mouth and sometimes in the ear, and then the same hand I am using and serving you. What do you think you are doing? So these are the things, spiritual things that you are practicing. Why? Alertness. What is the alertness? I am not going to hurt anyone by any way. That alertness is helping you to develop spirituality. Do you understand? Not that all the time coming and sitting over here, closing your eyes. So this is the thing, very perfectly one should try to follow. That is why he is telling that practice of dharma. Then philosophical discrimination. Why they use the philosophical? The moment we use the discrimination, immediately the caste, creed, color, race, no discrimination. Philosophical discrimination. What is the philosophical discrimination? The one something is permanent, another is temporary. Permanent is God and all other things are temporary. That is philosophical discrimination. The moment you say discrimination, then naturally the people will start thinking, oh my God, why is talking about the discrimination? There should not be any discrimination. Not in the social level, but in the spiritual level. The practice of concentration, this is a must. And practice of concentration, how it is possible? Every day, at least for 5 to 10 minutes, try to forget your body. We forget our bodies every day, not only 1 hour, for 5-6 hours in sleep. When we are sleeping, we forget our body. And all the person who was very smart, and when they are sleeping, if you take their photo, you will see how they are sleeping. Because that time they are not having that body consciousness, so they will be sleeping like that. So that's why the people, they say you should not take the photo when I am sleeping. So this is the main. We all the time forget our body. Every day we do that, and one must do that. But at the same time, when you are fully awake, consciously, if you are forgetting your body, that is called concentration. And for that concentration, you need an object. And if that object is the consciousness or the beloved God, your mind also take that shape. You can concentrate on anything. Suppose you like a very good player, the soccer player, or maybe actor or actress, you can concentrate on them too. Or anything in the world you like, but you will get the shape of that characteristic. But if you meditate on Jesus, meditate on Buddha, meditate on Sri Ramakrishna, Ramachandra, that quality will come. That is why they always say, meditate on that. Then he says, association of holy people. Who are the holy people? In many places they have described, Sri Ramakrishna, he said, those whose mind is completely given to God. That means no selfishness. Those who are completely unselfish and naturally they generate love for each and everyone, that is called the holy people. And along with that, they say, avoiding the company of the selfish people. Because this type of people, in the society, when you are going, you must have to have naturally, the different type of people are there. But the company means you like his company, you like to talk to him, you like to spend some time with him. That is not a good thing. Because the selfish people means they will always, their mind will be imprinted with their selfishness, and you will also. That's why the parents are so careful about their children, with whom he is mixing or she is mixing. The children don't understand, they don't differentiate, they are all mostly impressed by some smart guys, but mothers, they know. The fathers, they will be very, very watchful. Now you should not mix with that boy or girl, you should not do this, you should not do that. They'll be all the time protecting. Why? Bad company. So a man is known by his company. In English they always say, if you are in good company, naturally you will develop the good habits. The singers, if you are in the group of the singers, you will learn so many things about the songs and their different grammar. And if you are with the doctors, you will learn so many things about the medicine. The same way, if you are with the holy people, you will learn many things about the spiritual life. And majority, mostly the senior devotees, are long time associated. If you ask them any good book, immediately they know what are the books about the devotion, about the discrimination. Why? Because they came and they got associated. They'll be quoting from the scriptures. They know so many things. How it was possible? Because the association. And when you are having that good association, so obviously in the subconscious mind it will remain. There's sometimes when I go to visit the parlor of the devotees, the houses, I always ask them to bring the children. Let them be here, let them be here. They are playing, creating little disturbances, but let them be here. Why? Because when they are listening to the discussion, not so attentively, but at the same time, in the subconscious mind, those words are reaching, going. That will be there. If you just close your eyes and go back to your children's days, in the days, and those conversations that the elders used to do, that is all there. And whenever that particular opportunity will come, that advice will come up, and you will know that, oh, it happened like that, I must do like this. That helps. That's why the good association, and he says, try to avoid the places where this type of selfish people, they visit. The places also should be avoided. Then only your mind, because it is your mind, the mind should be purified slowly, should lovingly practice non-injury and self-control, avoid criticism and devotion to Lord. These are the teachings of the Sanat Kumara. What was the question? How a person who is entangled in these worldly things can, in this life, get liberation. So I have given the name over here. The Bhagavatam, they take us to the liberation, mukti. And here, the Sanat Kumar, in a very nice way, he is telling, these are the things, if you practice, you will get the liberation for sure. That's certain. Don't criticize others. This is sometimes, just like a fun we do, the friendly way. That is nothing, no wrong. Because just leg pulling among the friends, that is all right. But criticizing means belittling him or doing something so that when the person reaches over there, all others' mind is already having the idea about him. Oh, he is an egoistic person, he is this, he is that. You have already told them in such a way. These people are not knowing this person. When he went over there, the other people whom you have already said, they will be looking at him as the way you have already printed their mind. That is called criticism. The one should not do that. So this Saradamani Devi, all the advices she told, don't criticize others. Why? They also belong to you. You do not know. So don't criticize in that way. They all are traveling towards the truth, towards the goal. Maybe some crooked, some straight way. It doesn't matter. He will go in his own way. What you are doing, you must be careful. So non-injury, hurting others. When I talk to some people or behave in such a way, they feel insulted, the heart. So that he is telling, don't do that. Again, if you go in the life of Ma Saradamani Devi, you will find this type of teaching. Very simple way she is asking the other ladies, don't talk in that way, don't behave in that way. Your word, your gesture, the manner, hurting other people, you should not do that. This is very, very important, very, very important. Devotion to Lord. First he began the faith, and then last he concluded devotion. If you have the faith, you have the love for God. So Sri Ramakrishna said, if you have Shraddha, Vishwas, then you have achieved everything. God is there and God is going to do everything. Why should I think? So that is the type of complete self-surrender. It is very, very difficult. Now he said, these spiritual practices develop power. That's why the spiritual people, they have the power. Why? Because you are controlling the nature. Nature is provoking you to react, and you have conquered the nature. Obviously, you are in the realm of the all-powerful God, all-pervading God. The power is reflected. And this power, now he is telling, with this power, the tremendous mental power burns the self-centered individual, which is composed of 5 aspects of ignorance. All these individual people that we are, only ignorance. And what? 5 types of ignorance. The first is avidya. Avidya means ignorance. Avidya means taking something which it is not. As sometimes there is a snake, very dangerous, but we think it is a rope. What will happen? So that is the way we take something which it is not. That is called ignorance. And when you are accepting the worldly things as God or the permanent things, is a great mistake that you are doing. The result will be suffering. As if you take up the snake thinking that it is a rope, what the snake will do? It will bite you, and you will be in great difficulty. Similarly, if you accept the world as a permanent, and that is the goal of life, you are going to suffer. So that he said, you must burn first avidya, the ignorance. And then along with that comes asmita. Avidya, second is asmita. Asmita means egoism. I. That is called asmita. But have you ever closed your eyes and sat in a corner and discussed about within yourself, who are you actually? Why this I? Who am I? You will never find any answer. So all the association with this is nothing. So that is called asmita, egoism. Raga and desha. There is another 2. Raga means attachment and aversion. I want this and I don't want that. That is also ignorance. There's raga and desha, attachment and aversion. Then avinivesha. What is that avinivesha? The great desire to live. I should live, I should live, I should live. Great desire to live. I heard I don't know, I cannot prove, the informations that the rich people, they wanted to transplant to some body part and it was not available. So the poor people, they told, I will give you money. When he was not agreeing, then they killed him and then changed that. Why? I have to live. What the poor person is going to do? Nothing, let him die. So here it is. When we are going to the doctor, taking the medicine, it is not that. This avinivesha means I only should live at any cost. I don't bother whether other people are suffering or dying. For me, I should live. So that is called avinivesha. These are all 5 ignorances. And the moment you develop and practices all the spiritual disciplines, a tremendous power comes within you and you can burn. They are using the word, you can burn these 5 things. Dabdashayo, mukta, samasta tad gunaihi. Here is the simple way it says, Dabdashayo. They burn completely and you become mukta, you become free, samasta tad gunaihi, of those bad qualities. Naivatmana bahi anta vichaste. The anatma, which is anatma, which is not the consciousness, anything, externally and internally, all you give up. Paratmana yad vyavadhanam purastat sapne yatha purusha tad vinashe. Then what happens? You see the Paratman, you see that consciousness, you see that God. Then if you turn back and think, what happened to my samsara? What happened to my family? You will never remember. Why? It has vanished as the dreams that you see. When you wake up, all those goes away. Same way. The moment you realize God, only God remains. And what about my previous life? Nothing will remain. So when the young Narendranath came, he was having tremendous spiritual power by birth. Sri Ramakrishna understood it and he wanted to taste it. He just touched him. You have read that story. And immediately the young boy's mind started soaring high up. And then he shouted, hey, what you have done to me? My mother is there, father is there. I cannot leave them. Then Sri Ramakrishna again touched him and said, okay, it will take some time. Then slowly, he himself developed through this discipline. So friends, now in conclusion we can understand, we want to be successful in spiritual life. Then these are the disciplines we must practice. That's all, nothing else. We need not to go visit this man and that man, this temple or that temple, this holy place or that holy place. Nothing and nothing and nothing. Only in your own way, just practice these disciplines and you will be completely, all the past karmas will be burned. And the Paramatma, Jivatma and Paramatma will meet each other and they will be how it is, just like the milk pouring in the milk, just like the water mixing with the water, just like the oil pouring in the oil. Shankaracharya in the Vivek Chudamani, and the end he is telling, all these things that you are trying, it is actually nothing is there. It is only your imagination, because inside the mind it is all there. When that mind has gone, what remains? So I was thinking inside the room there is a ghost, and I was so much afraid. I was searching for the light. I was shouting for the help. So many things happened. Then slowly the day broke and the sunlight came and you said, oh no, I am in a very comfortable place. Why I was thinking in that? Immediately all the fear and the tension, it goes away. Similarly, why you are suffering? Mind. What is that mind? the collection of all the impressions. Where from the impressions came, these 5 sense organs, they went out and collected. Now you have to show your command and say, hey, you are all my servants. Chakshu, Karna, Nashika, Jiva, Tak, you are my servants, don't forget it. And whatever I say, you must follow it. So I am the master. And that way you become Swami. The Swami means the master. You become the master. Master of your own senses. And then you can say, I like to be happy. You become happy. Okay, I like to be miserable, a little bit of miserable, let me test. Again, you get that. This is all under your command. And that is called Jivan Mukta. That condition is called Jivan Mukta. You are the master, living, and wherever you go. And that is the reason Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he is going to all places, but never attached with those. He was enjoying all thing. Why? Because he has already controlled his senses. That is the highest spirituality. And finally, the teaching comes in that chapter. He says, there are 4 Purusharthas. They are the goals of human life. Dharma, then Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So there are 4. So sometimes I think that I should come and say this, then you people all know. So why to explain? So there was one speaker, this is a story I think. He came and he was not at all ready to speak. He came, do you understand this subject? No sir, it's not no use talking with you. So he left. But these people, they were eager to listen to him. So again they invited and they divided themselves too. One group will say, we know, another group will say, we don't know. They thought by that way they can manage. The speaker came, do you know this subject? One group raised their hand, yes sir, we know. Another group said, sir, we do not know. Then you please teach them. So he left. So anyway, this spiritual teaching means, that's why Sri Ramakrishna said, unless and until you are having the authority from the God, nothing is going to happen. But what we are doing, studying. We are studying together, studying the Bhagavatam. And here we are doing the same thing, and finally the Bhagavatam teaches us Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Give importance to moksha only. Give importance to moksha. Why? Because the lifetime is very short. We do not know what is going to happen. So we can remember that one lady used to come and sit in the chair. Now she is no more with us. And she was such a nice devotee. Anything happened, she will be coming. And she was very fond of cooking, feeding, and whole Gita memorized. Suddenly one day phone call came and said, no, she is not. Like that, one after another going away. We will meet in the heaven for sure. But at this moment it goes away in this. And immediately, like in the water, that if you go to the villages, sometimes that, what's that called? The cover the water. So it comes, you remove that, immediately you see that very clear water, you can see the reflection, but after some time it comes and it covers the whole water. So that is the way our mind, when we talk, when we listen, when we read, when we ponder, that goes away. And we see the reflection of the Atman. We feel so joy. And after some time again it comes and covers. So what we should do? Sri Ramakrishna is giving a wonderful example. Because he is from the village, he knew how they used to, the water, he is saying they used to manage in the water. And they will be putting a barricade near the steps, so that the people can go and all the time can get the clean water. We have to give a barricade in our mind. What is that barricade? Ram Prasad says, go on repeating the name of God, go on taking the name of God. So that's why Diksha is so important. Any good gurus, from the guru you have received the God's name, Goddess name, Just go on repeating. And you are giving a boundary so that you can see your own self. And by that way, time will come when you will see the moksha, the mukti, the liberation just standing before you. And you will wonder, oh, this is me? I was searching myself? And with a great joy, the Jivatma and Paramatma will mingle. What will remain? Only existence. Asti, asti, asti. I am there, I am there, I am there. Thank you very much. Let us chant this mantra and conclude. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunnanti Divyai Stavai Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgatina Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogina Yasyantam Nabidu Surasuragana Devaya